Hi. Today I wanted to get into anxious attachment. I've been trying to cover all the spreads of the attachment theory. Again, just let's take this back to these are theories. They're not foul-proof. We have personality theory. We have, astrological theories. We have Enneagram. We have so many things that kind of bridge us in psychology. And when I first came into the field, I was really into personality. And then I discovered trauma. And I feel like trauma is the staple to so many things as well as development. Because why wouldn't it be? It's where it all starts for us when we're very little, all throughout life. We experience different people, time, spaces, and incidents that makes our life very complex. And then we throw new people into those equations and we're going to have a variety of different things. Obviously, in attachment, there are the four types. There's the anxious, the fearful avoidant, which is also known as the disorganized, as well as the dismissive avoidant, and the final is secure. We can go in and out of these stages at any given time through life. Even if we come into someone, we meet them and we're secure, but they're not secure, even though they might think they're secure, because oftentimes avoidance will be unaware of their own attachment issues. We can be triggered into some of those core wounds. What's interesting in the comparison to psychology versus astrological stuff is there's a lot of mirroring in the journey of what we call the twin flame journey or the soul journey, or as the runner and the chaser in psychology. These two people meet and they have this energy because they're mirroring each other, right? The anxious and the avoidant meet and they have so much chemistry because they literally mirror what they want from each other, right? The avoidant would love to be out there and is outgoing and extrovert, and see if we have that too, extrovertism versus introvertism, right? They want what each other has. The anxious would so much rather be quiet and reserved and keep to themselves and never talk about their things and shut down and be able to be, avoidant, right? Where the other one would love to be more emotionally open and available. So they have to learn to do the dance together. And once they can, it's the most blissful relationship because they really, really have these core wounds that are very similar to each other through life. We just don't want to do the trauma bond forever. We want to be able to heal those wounds and learn to dance the dance of life, right? And this is with whatever theory you want to look at, whether it's astrological. Some people just think they meet and they organically have these connections. But here's what I promise you, and I've been studying relationships and been in several relationships, is that any relationship at any given time is going to have its issues, its qualms, its fights. And if we don't learn to know how to speak from our feelings and our emotions and communicate effectively, as well as learning to open up to those raw spots of our life and share those with one another, you're going to find your relationships faltered later. I mean, I've been a therapist for how long, and I see couples all the time. And usually when a couple comes in, they've been together 10, 11, 15, 18, 12, 13, 7 years. And they're now at the I don't give a shit phase. And once you're there and you've lost hope in your relationship and you're trying to fix it in that stage, it's really difficult to fix 10, 11, 12 years of wounds. When you start doing it early, this is telling about a relationship because it means you have the ability to be logical and think about things and know how to make things work. So here we go with the anxious attacher, right? So in childhood, we are drawn to our parents' energies, right? If we have very avoidant type parents that don't ever talk about things, everything's fine, we're good, just go to work, da-da-da-da. It's very just like lack of any type of emotion, right? Or there's the parents that tend to carry their feelings on the outside more and they're more emotional. You can see their stress. As children, we pick up on these people's energies, right? We're going to swing one way or the other. Now, the goal is to be balanced between the two and have supportive parents. And what we don't know yet is about attachment theory is that what we're truly looking for, and we should be looking for as far as the book that I'm writing on attachment and trauma is the emotional intelligence side. Feel safe, seen, heard, comforted, valued, and supported. That's what we need in life. Every single human on this earth. We also need care, consistency, choices, and consequences. And so I walk through the steps of healing. I think I've developed these 7 steps that I think everyone needs to kind of like be able to incorporate these things. So this is a little added in the anxious one, but I'll add these in the other videos that I'm making. I'm really making a bunch of them because I really want to get content out there to switch the pop psychology that's going on from all these content followers that aren't really as studied in this stuff. Not saying that they don't have the knowledge, but there's just a lot of inappropriate labeling that are really shaming wounds, labeling people narcissists. We all have traits. Let's just face it. Personality is subjective, and that's why they removed it from the DSM as far as like a diagnostic criteria that we have to even think about anymore, because it's just subjective. Our field is so subjective. It's science driven. So we're constantly testing theories and studying people and trying to figure things out. So here it is. The anxious-preoccupied, preoccupied with everyone but themselves. They make fantastic counselors. They make fantastic doctors. They're the caretakers of the world. They're also in the line of trauma fawners most often, right? They're going to be the classic, let me see what's going on, let me fix it so that I can control the situation so I feel better. Because if my nervous system is getting overwhelmed because you're acting whatever or you're withdrawing, it's suddenly going to make me think, well, what did I do wrong? And they're going to say nothing, everything's fine, because they don't want to talk about it. So that still makes me drive more and more and more to investigate it, because I just want homeostasis, consistency, right? The child of an anxious didn't have consistent rearing. One day their mom was up in the air and, arm's length about, oh, life's just stressful. I don't know what I'm going to do with your dad, or I don't know how we're going to pay the bills, or I don't know how I'm going to work today, and da. She's external with her feelings. And as a young child, you're trying to just make this person feel better so that I can go back to playing my toys, right? So anxious people pick up on other people's energy, right? And then they try to control it. Anxiety is the fear of losing control. And this is why I moved away from just labeling people with mental health issues, because that's not really going to help us understand why we're behaving the way that we are, and just throw in some coping skills to you, say, here, try this, and it's going to work. No, it's not. These are core wounds. I'm 40-something years old, right? So I've been doing these things all my life. So I need to be able to understand why I'm doing them and why certain people trigger these core wounds for me. Whether it's a mother wound or a father wound, when we meet people, they're going to activate those wounds. I hate to tell you of those that think they have the most perfect relationships. I actually saw a meme the other day for Valentine's Day that said, why don't you guys switch each other's phones and see how in love you are? Like, seriously, we can fantasize about these romanticized versions of love, but love takes a lot. Relationships take a lot, and it's worth it if you can really get down to the nitty gritty. So again, anxious people, if we look about developmental stages, my mother would hover. If I was struggling to tie my shoe, she would somehow come over because she'd be so frustrated watching me struggle. And her good intention was to help me, right? Here, let me help you tie your shoe. Well, what does that teach a young child? No sense of autonomy, and that I must have failed doing this, and now she's going to show me. Now I've developed this way of tying shoes, so later in life, when I see my partner struggling, I'm going to show them how to tie their shoes. Now, if I'm with an avoidant partner, which most of us are dating the opposite, they're going to be like, I don't need you to show me how to tie my shoes. I know how to tie my shoes. I don't need you to change me. And it's become a fight because I'm thinking I'm loving and caretaking, while they're like, what is wrong with me? She thinks I'm something, right? So these two dance this dance, and it's hard to break these cycles. The goal is for this one to say, hey, I really appreciate you trying to show me how to tie my shoes, but let me tie my shoes the way I want. And this person has to be willing to say, you're right, you tie your shoes just fine, right? Because it's the control of my anxiety. It makes me feel better if you tie your shoes this way. It's just the same way if we fold towels or do anything. I hear these constant arguments. We call them wet towel arguments. And they're most trivial things that can be fixed very easily in relationships if we learn to dial back of what we're trying to control, right? Those are simple things. The biggest things we need from someone is to love us, to understand us, protect us, keep us safe, and to not want to hurt us, and to comfort us when we need comforted. When we don't feel well, right? We should comfort each other. We should love each other. We shouldn't overly comfort, right? Like anxious mothers would overly comfort. They would provide too much because that's what they needed. And so we literally are mirroring what our parents give us. And this is why we talk about the trauma bonds. And these can easily be fixed and healed if we learn to identify the maladaptive behaviors, learn to have open communication with each other, talk about our feelings, talk about how much we can work to improve these areas, and do the dance. So pick up a therapist, find someone that knows about attachment. There are tons of books, workbooks, as well as videos online that you can surface. Kim Sage is a really great psychologist that I follow. She has some great content, as well as the Attachment Project. Great material. But I say this because there's nothing wrong with us. We just need to analyze, work together, and build bridges instead of seeing each other as problems. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm Olivia Reynolds. I'm a psychotherapist with Healing Hearts Trauma. I'm hoping to spread good content out there. Have a good day.